Civility and respect should be at the heart of public life, and good governance is fundamental to ensuring an effective and well-functioning democracy at all levels. The intimidation, abuse, bullying and harassment of councillors, clerks and council staff in person or online is unacceptable, whether by councillors, clerks, council staff or public members. Any person adjudged by the chair of the meeting to have breached this rule may be asked to apologise, withdraw their statement and or leave the meeting. It says at the bottom that Bude-Stratton Town Council has signed the note of civility. Right, that was item 1 on the agenda. Item 2, public participation. Members of the public are invited to comment on matters within the parish. Do you want to say it now?
Evening all. I'm not sure that I'm not supposed to perhaps declare an interest, because earlier this week I attended by invitation the Future Coast View Political Friends group. So what I'll say now is I'm speaking now as a member of the public, not as a member of that group. And I'm going to refer to item 13 on the agenda this evening. Now, the reason that I've taken up that position, for want of a better word, is because of a long interest in what has been going on in respect of climate change protection for Bude. I don't think it's any secret that I've been pretty disappointed and scathing about previous efforts. And this council, I think, summed it up as going back to an issue of poor governance in a previous organisation, which I absolutely agree with. I don't want to see that happening again. You had got to elect this evening a representative for that body. What I would say to you is, whoever that representative is, I would ask you as a member of the public, please, to be transparent, informative to your colleagues, and as much as you can, informative to the public, because the organisation and the representatives on the council of that organisation, in my view, did an appalling job of informing colleagues and the public things they should know. The first meeting, it raised some questions and did give me much hope for sensible, effective, efficient protective measures being put in place in Bude in response to climate change. I will do what little I can to influence that, but it needs to be sensible, it needs to be effective, and it needs to be efficient. And I think there's quite a lot of people in this town who don't want to see anything less. They're fed up with previous nonsense. They will not accept the same again. And that's it really. Whoever gets that post, please do your best for this town and for the people of this town, and no other interest. Thanks for that.
Thank you. Any comment from anybody on the table? Carl?
I think there's a fundamental difference between the governance structures and the setup, if you like, of Future Coast Bude, and let's mention the elephant in the room, the Bude Climate Project. And there were issues around how transparent the Bude Climate Project could be and how transparent councillors who were on the board of that project felt they could be. I advocated for maximum transparency, but I have been sort of advised that there were certain things that couldn't have been discussed because of all kinds of legal ramifications. And let's just say I am happy that there is a totally different structure moving forward. Basically, the climate partnership is now gone. It won't be returning. And Future Coast Bude is a completely different thing. And we will be able to address many of the concerns that people rightly have. But, having said all of that, some of the flack that went towards the Bude Climate Project and the Bude Climate Partnership, rather, was basically climate change denial. And Future Coast Bude is not in the business of climate change denial. It is in the business of addressing some real positives to try and help us deal with a future that is very uncertain.
Yes, I'd just like to that because I was at the same meeting. I think it was a really interesting lesson, that meeting, I suppose, really, and how to be critically objective about a project. And what we had was a room full of people who were critically objective. That's exactly what they were. They were asking really pertinent questions. They were delving into the science, and they were asking some difficult questions of the DEFRA and the Cornwall Council and the EA representatives, of which I think they responded really well. They weren't flanneling, they weren't trying to avoid the questions, they were providing really good logical answers to the types of science questions that were being asked. And they represented themselves as a very credible and well-organised group of people who are going to be able to make a difference. I think there is a fundamental difference here between the Climate Partnership, but it is important that we keep saying it. Future Coast Bude is not a climate partnership, and I think somebody said it in the meeting actually. The Climate Partnership are probably a bunch of well-intentioned amateurs being paid quite a lot of money, maybe for the right or the wrong reasons. Nobody can make their own minds up about that. And it was also made more difficult from exactly what Councillor Colwell said in relation to the legal entity of it and whether it was actually public or whether it was private, and there was a lot of sort of difficulty around that. This organisation, the Future Coast Bude, they're public bodies. This is DEFRA, the Environment Agency and Cornwall Council. So by definition, they are transparent. That's their job. This is government money that they're using as well. And I think what's going to be important for us as a council moving forward is supporting that activity in an appropriate way to make sure that what we're getting is the right bang for our buck. Because what disappoints me most, I suppose, really about the Climate Partnership is we had the opportunity for a £2 million investment into Bude for the right reasons. We lost it. Just through whatever you want to call it, but that's gone. And it ain't coming back. Now, it's the same with this to an extent. This organisation has established itself, written a comprehensive business case and got government funding to achieve certain aims. What we don't want to do is end up in the same position and lose it, because if we do, it won't come back. Now, one way or the other, right, there are opportunities here to make a difference in the town. Now, whether we consider that to be the park and ride, because that's part of this same project, whether it's improved signage in the town, whether it's improved cycling routes, whether it's improved walking routes, these are all opportunities that are within the scope of Future Coast Bude. And it's important that what we do is approach it in a positive manner. And we keep talking about whether climate change is happening or not, and the rise of workforce, there's no problem. But the truth is that whether that is happening or not, what we've got is an opportunity for investment in the town for the right reasons, to make a difference to the community. And so I think as a council, we have a responsibility to make sure we get the most out of it. And I think you're absolutely right, that we've got to make sure whoever's representing us on that they're fully engaged with it, that they are willing to work with them to achieve a common aim, and the reports back to us as a council are accurate and meaningful, so that we're actually actively involved and engaged in it.
Mr. Jennings, did you?
Well, it's a good start, isn't it? I tried to find out about this meeting Tuesday night. I couldn't find out. Nobody told me nothing. Nobody seemed to know anything about it. And other people seem to get invited. I mean, we've already got secrecy, haven't we? Not being open and honest and truthful for the start. And once again, the unelected are running Bude.
And I'll let Councillor Sullivan finish that one.
Yeah, I fully.
I don't want to get too dragged into this because we have got quite a lot.
That's just what I was going to say. Yeah. We don't want to start engaging in revisionism here, but do have to take issue with Councillor Colwell about as the councillor who eventually stood up and said it's time to end this arrangement that is getting worse and worse, I take exception to the suggestion that there was any climate change denial on my part.
No,
Absolutely
I didn't.
Well,
I wasn't addressing you in those.
Okay, I'll take your assurance. But the fact is, it was before your time. The arrangement with the climate partnership was wrong from day one, and there was one councillor, and I'm not boasting here, but there was one councillor who raised concerns in August 2021 about when the whole thing, the first steps were taken, it was wrong. There was no transparency right from day one, and that's not to deny climate change or anything like that. It's you have to have robust arrangements, otherwise what happened was inevitable.
It's just a response. It's just a responsibility, Councillor Jones. Just to be clear, the meeting wasn't a public meeting. It was by invitation, and it's a critical friends group. So that is very specific around who it is that was invited to that particular meeting for that reason. So it was designed to enable people who are already actively engaged in the project to have a conversation around the detail of some of that stuff. Now, there will be plenty of opportunity. There is going to be plenty of opportunity for public engagement as we move forward. There will be a consultation. It will be comprehensive. Everybody will get their opportunity to have a say. I will absolutely refute. There's no secrecy involved in this. Every meeting can't be public. It's just not possible, right? That's not the nature of it. Okay, it isn't the nature of it. If you want to be invited, I will talk to the people organising it, and we'll see if we can get you an invite. If you really want it, if you really want to sit for 3 hours, okay, on an evening, give up your time in order to listen to that sort of level of conversation, you can be my guest. I have no problem with it. There's nothing to hide here at all.
Yes, I'd like to know how people new to the council get involved in such things when it's people who are already involved that get invited along. It's the same with working groups. I did ask all councillors how they were constructed, and I only got one response, which really was saying this is something we need to look at. And you know, I think quite a few of us are feeling fairly left out because we can't seem to get into working groups. We can't get invited to Future Coast Bude because we don't know anything about it. We haven't been involved in it before because we're new, and we would like to become involved in such things.
They don't want people like me around because I don't agree with most of what they're doing. And this is what it's all about. They don't want anybody who doesn't agree with what they say. Which is ID, the car park, the dunes.
Can I?
And I'd also like to point out, hang on, I haven't finished yet. I haven't finished yet. And also, if they really want to do something about stopping flooding in Bude, they ought to put that bloody dune up at Eel Bridge, because that's where we get flooded from every time.
Can I suggest, Mr. Barrett, would you like to respond to that?
Yeah, I don't want to go into it too far. What I'm going to say to you is, it is my intention to support what I think stands a chance of being a very useful group. I appreciate fully that the management is different than the previous group, and it absolutely had to be. My interest really is democratic. I want to see whichever of you goes on that body report to your colleagues, and as far as you can, report to the public. Because we did not get that, and you did not get that, in my view, from previous representatives. And I went into that, as Councillor O'Sullivan know, and Councillor Royal know, I went into that in quite some detail. The group were very good in that I had questions because there is some continuation of previous ideas, shall we say. However, the group also said that they are going to do more science to prove their case, which I think is needed, given what Bude faces at the moment from past experience, shall we say. I do believe the management is going to be transparent and professional. If I think different, you can be damn sure that this critical friend will make it known. And again, my overriding desire is that whichever one of you becomes a representative, please be someone who gives the public their democratic right. And that's it, really.
Very last, can you
There's
keep
just-
brief, because I don't want to get moving on.
Yeah, a brief thing is we've got to remember that a considerable part of the finance is coming from Cornwall Council, not from us. And you can talk about, well, we don't want these dunes and we don't want that, but that's been funded by Cornwall, not by us. So I don't understand. How can we possibly say we can't have that and we can have this if don't have the money to deal with it?
It's a new group, and from what I've seen of them so far, I feel that they are going to be a lot more professional. They are going to be a lot more transparent. And as Mr. Barrett has said, whichever one of us puts ourselves forward, I do hope that we will report back to this table and back to the public. So
Before you move on, Madam Chair, I do need to make a minor point of order, and I do apologise for it. You said that the money came from Cornwall Council. That's incorrect. The money is provided by the Environment Agency.
Okay, thanks for correcting me.
It's splitting hairs, and it's almost irrelevant, but
Yeah.
that's the case.
okay, if we could move on then, please. Apologies and accept reasons for non-attendance.
I have apologies from Councillor Dorr for personal reasons and Councillor Rogers for personal reasons.
Okay, accepted. Don't have to vote on that, do we?
Do we normal? No, no.
Just checking, I'm trying to stay correct. To note any reports from Cornwall councillors? Councillor Roy?
Oh, no, sorry, we're
sorry.
one ahead. Thank you, Tracy. Declarations of interest.
Declaration of interest first.
Number 4.
Oh, right, sorry.
No, so I should have noticed. Sorry.
Yeah,
Thank you.
declarations of interest. Any? No, right.
And agree any dispensations? No, that's fine.
Okay.
Excellent. Thank you.
Councillor Roy?
Thank you very much indeed for the opportunity to address your council. I was very grateful to Mr. Barrett to come to the meeting last night. He's obviously already given you a big introduction to it, and we've had a significant debate around the table to it. Fact of the matter is, it's a tranche of money that's come in via central government through the Environment Agency to Future Coast Bude, which is a subset of Coastal Transition Accelerator Programme. That seems an awful mouthful, but the idea is the government is providing some money to local communities that are perceived to be in danger or at threat of sea level rise and increased weather events. Now, we know that's proven for Bude. My concern always has been is that are the measures they are taking going to be sufficient to give us adequate protection given the challenges that we face? And I have my doubts, if I'm honest. I also think that there is some degree of I'm not sure if you call it reputational risk or maybe a slightly different description, right? But I think people in Bude, as Mr. Jennings points out, probably a bit fed up with being educated on climate change. We all know it's happening. You know, if we're not aware that it's happening, then we've been hiding ourselves in a very dark room. What they want is action. If we've got a problem, what are we doing about it? And I'm doing my best to steer the group in that practical direction. That is what I wish to do. Other things for Bude, I mean, I've been having ongoing conversations about management of the breakwater. You're probably aware that there's a significant repair to it done. Every time we patch up the breakwater, it costs somewhere in the region of 30,000 quid. That's depending on the amount of damage that's done. It could be part of the Future Coast Bude programme to do some work on identifying what changes we could make to the breakwater. I suspect we're going to end up with a solution that may not be particularly pretty, And I think what we're leading to will be, you know, when you go and see big seaports, they have these giant concrete X shapes. I think there'll be something like that on the seaward side of the breakwater to break up the force of the sea as it gets close to the breakwater, along with securing the structure itself. That is what I believe to be the most likely treatment of it. Otherwise, I'll be working hard on my Cornwall Council role. I'm very happy to take any questions. I want to remind the council that probably in the January meeting, we're going to be talking about the highway schemes, which we're going to put forward to Cornwall Council. So small adjustments, things like zebra crossings or double yellow lines or very minor things that we can put forward through the community area network. But that will be coming up in January. I've already got a number of schemes that I want to put forward. But if anybody in the meantime thinks of anything, either let me know or store it up and we'll talk about it at the next meeting. Happy to take any questions, should there be any.
Last 4 houses, not one of them's gone to Bude again. And we got an empty one, well, not opposite me, just about a little way down the road. And I wonder who that's going to go to.
Well, I've no idea who.
Well, let's bet. Well, should we have a bet that it don't go to anybody in Bude?
Well, I tell you, we'll have a bet that will go to the person or family in the greatest need.
Yeah, well, there you are. Yeah. Never anybody from Bude, is it?
What I can say, which may help, is that there are 20 homes on Sandpiper Road, which is up behind B&M, which you may have noticed there's been a build out recently.
Yeah, they didn't finish yet, but
no, they're due to be finished in February.
Right.
Of those homes, I think something in the region of 16 of them are going to be affordable, well, sorry, not affordable, social rent, which is the old-fashioned word for council house.
Mm-hmm.
And because it's their first lease, they have to go to people with a local connection. When I say local connection, that's either this parish, I have to live in Bude-Stratton, or any one of the adjoining parishes.
Right.
But what you're saying is likely to get worse in terms of people not from Bude going into council houses, and that will go all across Cornwall, and you'll have me to thank for that. And I can go into a much deeper explanation, but there is plenty of meat on the agenda. If the mayor should, or the deputy mayor should like me to go into the further detail, I will. Otherwise, I'll tell you afterwards.
Right, fair enough. But I'm sick and tired of everybody saying, well, why don't we get houses? I mean, come and have a walk around Bude and see some of the people I speak to. And they're great. The woman across the road spoke to me. She said, oh, that's empty. Said, well, it don't matter. Won't go to anybody from round here, will it? And that's the attitude most people have got. It's going to be for us.
Well, at the moment,
it's proven
that these houses have to go to either the person with the greatest need in the parish or a surrounding parish. So if you came from Morwenstow, you might get one. Or if you came from...
so how close is Newquay to Bude?
Newquay, well, there is a reservation. Well, it's,
yeah.
I'll tell you later.
Yeah.
The rest of the table probably isn't that interested. You are.
Well, they ought to be, because that's what we should be doing.
If the table's interested, I'll happily tell the table.
That's the most important thing this council should be doing.
Right, if we can move on. Any other questions for Councillor Broy? Okay. Reports from committee chairs and representatives on outside bodies.
Yeah, do you mind if I go? Because
No, I know.
I've got to go.
Yeah.
And I just very briefly, perhaps most of you know about this anyhow, the Hill Valley Trail, we got our £166,500 the other day. And so that's the documents are to be signed on Monday, which completes the process. Sorry?
I would say what happened in the library, the meeting in the library the other day was quite important. So
I'll leave that to you.
Okay.
And not to make councillors feel jealous or anything, but the cost to Marham Church Parish Council was £1,300 for this £190,000 project. That £1,300 came from civil reserves, so not a single penny of it was collected from the parishioners of Marham Church through the precept. There's a slight surplus in the fundraising, which means that there will be zero impact on the precept for the forthcoming year. So all this was done at no cost. We even managed to negotiate the officer time, charge for the officer time to be refunded to us. And so it's obviously a very, I'd like to think a good news story. Well, it's a good news story for the whole area because it is there now in perpetuity. And it was, it was obvious to me 2 years ago that there was an awful lot of meetings and discussions went on and various people were involved. I remember Councillor LeBroy being at a meeting in Marnchurch and it became clear after a time that somebody needed to kind of give it direction and research what was the most likely to succeed, what was the most likely to succeed in terms of raising the money and whatever. And it was for that reason that I was just looking up there in the minutes of a C&D meeting, there was, when I came along, having assessed it all, I came along and suggested that this council, well, the council had already decided it wasn't going to pursue a purchase, but there was bizarre suggestions of, even though it wasn't going to engage in purchase, that this council would pursue things like definitive maps modification orders or asset community value registration, all that sort of stuff. And it became clear that, hang on, if you're not in. The most bizarre one of all was that the most bizarre one of all was that money raised through crowdfunding would be held by a BSTC bank account, even though BSTC wasn't pursuing the purchase. So for that reason, at a meeting in February, I think it was, or November, whenever, 2 years ago, I suggested that this council just, have no further part in it. And I will just tell you this light-hearted bit because it was at a time when the relationship between Councillor LeBroy and Councillor O'Sullivan was at perhaps a less cordial phase. Yeah. And it was at that point that Councillor LeBroy suggested, as I had proposed, BSCC had no further part, that he suggested I was doing a volte-face was his. But I have forgiven you, Councillor LeBroy, and I've taught it, and I have expressed my appreciation for the effort you put in. So, happy Christmas from the Hill Valley Trail.
Did you want to quickly mention about the success of the library?
Yeah, I'll leave that to you. The only other thing, if you like, that I was going to mention, if I had time, was the Cliff Hotel. Yeah. That permission was granted for the demolition and replacement with 23 residential units, 7 of which were meant to be affordable. The developers have come back and asked for the affordable element to be reduced from 7 down to 4. And this is unfortunately a regular occurrence. And the planning committee strongly objected, but also suggested that the appropriate way for Common Council to deal with this was to use their powers under Section 97 of the Town and Country Planning Act 1990 to revoke the planning permission, which they can do if they want to, if it's considered expedient to do. The vibes I'm getting is that the planning officers are assessing it under policy 10 of the Common Local Plan, which allows them to assess the viability. So it depends on how it will likely to come back to planning committee in the new year. But it was one of those planning applications that, had we had time, I think the planning committee would have been agreeable to having it addressed by the full council, given the significance, because it would be very significant if we could get Common Council to agree to revoke the original planning permission. That would be a significant step. It's a very, very rarely used provision of the Act, mostly to correct mistakes. But there's nothing to say it can't be used because it is not. Had that application come in and said we're only going to have 4 affordable units, it's very likely that would have been refused. So we will watch this space. Thank you.
Okay.
Right, now I'm going.
Right. No, I just felt that one of the things that ought to be reported by the planning committee to this committee was that Tuesday. The Mayor, what most people know as Mayor Caravan Park, away resorts now, there's always been flooding issues down there. They've done something that's changed the flooding so that that side of the road doesn't get flooded anymore, but that side now does. They've put in an application to develop the site further. The residents who have now been flooded are not very happy, but what we did manage to, or what was arranged on Tuesday, was a meeting with how many members of Cornwall Council?
There were several. Yeah, there was
7 or 8 there.
Yeah, 7 or 8 members of Cornwall Council and the directors of Away Resort and the residents. And we felt, and the residents felt, I think, that it was a fairly successful meeting. I just thought that was a good one on the planning committee and the residents.
One of the interesting comments that was made during the course of the meeting was Amy Williams, who's the planning officer involved, acknowledged that she knows very little about drainage.
And I just thought, as we're talking about future coast of Bude and flooding, it's important. Yeah. Right. Kevin, do you have anything to report from F&E?
I have nothing specific to report from F&E except what we're all here for tonight, which is the budget.
Okay.
And I commend the F&E budget to full council.
Okay. CNH.
Nothing specific from CNH, but I do have an update on Bude Young People Development Group. We met again. We had a really successful meeting around antisocial behaviour and the impacts on Bude. We had the right people around the table. I truly believe that. The conversation was perfect. We learned lots. Everyone was really engaging. I think we've built really good relationships with the police, with the school, with everyone that was needed. And we've got the next meeting, which we don't have a date for yet, but that will continue the conversation around antisocial behaviour. I will be discussing what's happened to the young people of Bude-Stratton to lead them to antisocial behaviour, crime, drugs, those sorts of things, and also talking and looking at reasons why young people might be out of school and education. But just a couple of things that were interesting and people might find interesting is that the levels of antisocial behaviour here are not any worse than anywhere else in Cornwall. They're not, even speaking to the police, crime levels committed by our young people are not any worse than anywhere else in Cornwall. We are where we are really. But the conversations with the police are great, and actually groups of young people hanging around the streets that often can feel quite intimidating. They're normally looking for shelter and Wi-Fi. So, these are the things that people don't realise, but it's really interesting to know these things. So, yeah, very successful, and I'm looking forward to the next conversation. So,
nothing to report except echo Councillor Cole's. We had a budget meeting and commend the budget to the full council in due course.
I apologise. I had a couple of things I wanted to report on. I don't know when the best item in the agenda would be to do so. Would it be okay if I was to report on them now?
Makes sense, doesn't it?
Well, it depends what they are, but yes.
It's just two things. So, firstly, I've been informed that Falmouth Town Council has made a bid to Cornwall Council to stop using bailiffs to collect their council tax. I wanted to put it forward as a proposal for the next full council meeting. Obviously, we have a lot going on for this one, so I don't want to do it for this one. It's a simple bid. It doesn't require money or time. So I would hope to put that forward. Second thing is, due to personal circumstances, I am announcing that I will be resigning after the full council meeting in January. Unfortunately, the job market is really difficult and it's a bit of a struggle for me. So I've had to move away, especially to advance my career. I'm forever grateful for the time that I've had to be able to represent the people of Bude-Stratton, Flexbury and Pothole, however short that was. And thank you all.
We're going to miss you.
Thank you.
Right, bit of sad news, that sentence, sorry.
Vicky, if you're about to move on, there is something I do need to say. So this is outside bodies still, isn't it? Agenda item 6. So I attended Bude CCTV group recently, and there is an ongoing issue with the police no longer wishing to home the CCTV control room within the police station. Part of that is operational reasons, because anybody who enters the police station has to go through quite a secure vetting process. And the other part of the equation is they simply need the room for their operational policemen. So we're looking at alternative solutions, one of which is to potentially build a small office in the car park around the back, which is attached to the police station. That's the optimum solution in my mind. However, the sector inspector isn't particularly keen on that. We've got meetings coming up next week to discuss that further. But it may well be that the CCTV group, if they are to build a small office, temporary structure in the or behind the police station, they might come to the council and ask for some financial support in doing so. So that's just a heads up, that could be on the way.
Thank you. Right, if we move on to item 7, full council to approve the minutes of the previous meeting, 6th November.
First, I've got a second.
All those in favour?
Did you want to make a point?
I just wanted to ask clarification. It doesn't mention the other vote in the meeting, the one that was lost 6-7.
So
Is that because it fell? Do you not mention any votes?
We don't traditionally or conventionally note resolutions that don't get through.
That was
or
the
voted
clarification.
on.
And there was one other thing.
Get through.
At where did I go? Where is it? 159. It says we resolve to take no action to sell One Lord's Court for up to 4 months. Blah blah. That could imply that we will be selling One Lord's Court after 4 months, rather than. I mean, has that been decided then?
No.
No.
The resolution.
I just thought that is slightly ambiguous. I thought that was all.
That was.
Yeah, that
was
it. That is the resolution.
Yeah, not to sell it at the moment.
Yes, I know that was what was said, but my sense of that was that we were going to make no decision to sell or to retain, rather than.
Isn't it?
Tracy
As
is.
a minute taker, you can only write down what's said. I
Yeah,
can't
okay.
give the implication that it's repeated.
That's fine.
Absolutely right.
I just want to try and clarify, because I was quite involved in attempting to bring the council to some more positive resolution than it actually did. So the first resolution was effectively to buy time for the land trust, to give them a time window. And that resolution, in its effect, is to just basically put everything on pause until, for the 4-month period. The second resolution, which failed, was to say that if the land trust didn't come forward, then we would carry on with the repairs. But that's the one that failed, wasn't it?
Yes.
So at the moment, in your mind, the easiest way of looking at it is just it's currently on pause. After the pause button is pressed again, 4 months after that meeting, anything could happen.
So the decision has not been made.
Well, we can't, can we, until we know what North Colonel House are going to
No,
say.
that's all I wanted to clarify. Thank you.
Already voted, haven't we? So,
I should have voted again. Sorry.
Right, okay. Do you need
You
to propose
proposed
a
it.
second?
I think there was a
I
second.
propose it.
Lance,
Second.
say all of them.
All those in favour? Committees, to note the minutes of committees meetings below.
Sorry.
Right,
You
sorry.
can do the against and the abstains, because there may be,
Oh, right,
there may be
sorry.
some people who weren't there and might want to abstain. So against,
Who's abstaining from that one, sorry?
I don't know if anyone was, but anyone against? No?
No.
And abstentions? Oh,
Sorry,
there we
Lorraine.
are, Lorraine. There we go. Thank you.
Sorry, I'm trying to race through it.
No, it's all right. It's quite. I've got to do my job. Sorry.
No, that's fine.
Wakey.
Right,
Thank you.
but I can take the whole lot
Yeah.
as one.
Yeah.
Right, okay. To note the minutes of the meetings below, planning, facilities, cultural, corporate. Do we need to vote on it?
Just to note.
All noted. Right, recommendations. C, to recommend to full council the 26-27 budget as presented with the discussed alterations.
Stephanie.
And then it goes on.
Oh, I see.
This is Stephanie, isn't it?
Come on.
Can take less than that with you.
That's not.
That's a little bit.
Yeah. Sorry.
It confused me because it said FES.
Yeah, no, it's environmental
Services.
Yeah, sorry. We're going to propose it?
I'm happy to propose it, I'm happy to speak to it. The facilities and environmental services are the doers on the council. I'm not saying that other people don't do stuff, but it is the people that cut the grass, the people that do repairs, ongoing repairs to this building, the guys you see out and about tending the flower beds, etc., etc. It has been a part of the council that, like other parts of the council, had its budget trimmed back because of issues in the previous iteration of this council. We have had to increase some contingencies, particularly around vehicles, but we have gone through this budget quite forensically. We went line by line. I will stand by this budget, and if it is being considered as a part of our overall budget to cut, I would argue that if we start chopping this, we'll end up not being able to do some of the things that the people of the town expect us to do, like looking after the downs, etc.
Councillor Moores.
I'd like to second Councillor Cobble's proposition.
I've just got a question, that's all, just around the Pothole churchyard. It's nice to see that there is some money now in the budget for Pothole. Well, obviously it's gone up considerably. It's 15,000 in the budget this year, so Pothole churchyard?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, the issue that we have around Pothole churchyard, and Ian knows this probably better than me, is it could be a very big financial burden to this council. We don't fully understand at the moment our legal responsibilities around Pothole churchyard. We know our responsibilities in the new bit, but we don't know our responsibilities in the old churchyard bit. There's got to be a lot of topple testing done. We have a potential significant liability, and this is just starting. It is, I must emphasise, this is just starting to build a reserve and to be able to conduct the various surveys that we need to do to even understand what that liability may be. So that is a line in the budget which I think is, although expanded significantly from last year, at the very minimum that I would be confident at commending to the council.
So you think that's a fairly conservative amount?
Yeah, so as I understand it, and I'm by no means an expert on this, your legal officer has been looking at it. You have to have somebody who's got the appropriate qualifications to undertake topple testing, and each topple test on each stone is quite a significant amount of money.
We're liable at the moment, do we think?
We certainly are for those in the cemetery, I would suggest, certainly, because that is our entire responsibility. We're trying to absolutely verify our situation with regard to the older church, the closed churchyard, but certainly that we have an important responsibility in the cemetery.
Can I just ask one more question, just to follow up? So is there any consideration given yet to the expansion of because we're running out of space, aren't we? So
I think that will be swept up within this general review.
Yeah, we did tentatively suggest there's a play area which has very little use and is in poor repair, and we tentatively suggested as a very small interim measure that we may look at developing that into the wider cemetery.
Is that play park owned by us? Just as a quick question.
Yeah.
It is ours, isn't it? Okay. Thank you.
I was up there yesterday. Popple Cemetery always looks really good.
Yeah.
You go up
Yeah.
back at St Michael's Church, and of course you can't hardly see the headstones for the grass that's up that high. No, I know it's nothing to do with us, like St Michael's, but at least if you know what they look after, they do a bloody good job on.
Yeah.
I can read all the gravestones.
Councillor Tilsley, did you?
No, I'm just pointing out.
Sparrow.
I looked into this issue for another place a while ago. I don't know if you know if it's correct. I believe your responsibility in a closed churchyard lasts for 100 years. So basically, the church charged people to be buried in it. When it's full, it gets handed to you. And you're responsible for it then for 100 years. That's the last information I had. It may not be the case now. But just to give you a heads up, look into it at least.
Can I suggest we get to the bottom of that, because I think it's very important. Like Councillor Jennings, I'm horrified by the state of that churchyard on a number of fronts, including visitors to the area have commented about how sad it is to see a churchyard in that condition. So if it's our responsibility.
Oh, St Michael's is not counted.
St Michael's.
Sorry, I thought I was hearing.
This one is mess.
Right, okay.
St Michael's is a mess.
But building on that, at some stage, I think we should be encouraging some volunteers somewhere to get down there and do some work. If the council aren't going to do it, it's part of our town, and it's a part of the town which really upsets myself and a number of people about the condition it's in. And I just wonder, not for tonight, but for the future, we need to look at somehow stimulating some volunteers to go down and do some work. I'd certainly go down.
Yeah, sorry, in response to that comment, I was one of the volunteers who a while back was engaged in cutting the grass. I believe the Westminster Funds the purchase of mowing equipment. I think it was Denise and Darrell Wellington who were the last people who sort of oversaw what we did. I have no objection to doing that again, but I haven't heard of any intention to do that work.
Councillor Jennings, and then.
I know Bickle goes up and does a couple up at St Michael's. Surely, you think other people would be wanting to look after their own headstones and graves and that. I mean, I go up to Popple, I know they cut the grass, but I go up there half a dozen times a year just to make sure all the headstones is all right. It's hard to do.
Councillor Broy.
I believe you should move on, Madam Chair.
Yeah, I was just about
I do want to say that it is the responsibility of Cornwall Council. I have been trying to encourage the Cornwall Council outdoor team to do better, unsuccessfully so far, but I'm very happy to take the conversation outside of the room with other councillors that might be interested. But I suggest you move.
No, I was about to. Right.
We've had a
proposal
on the second, haven't we?
You proposed it, didn't you?
I propose.
Seconded. All those in favour? Any against? One against. Any abstainers? One.
Okay.
Yeah, C&H committee budget. Okay.
I'd like to propose that we take this budget forward.
Seconded by Lance.
Thank you.
Any questions? All those in favour?
Yeah. Sorry, just for a minute, might not be.
All those against? Abstain? Okay, sorry.
Through you, Madam Chair, I'd just like to re-emphasise that particular committee did look at that particular budget very closely, and I think we finished at 9:30.
Yeah.
Quite a lengthy meeting. Quite some detail.
That's why I'm so confident about it.
C&D. Proposed by Councillor Moores. I'll second it. All those in favour? Or any questions first? No?
Yeah, what page are we supposed to be on?
Let's see, indeed.
Yeah, what was the number at the top?
Two.
Something after. Thank you for
I'm doing alphabetical.
Wonderful job, Arthur.
All those in favour?
Yeah, that's fine.
All those against? Abstain?
Carried.
Item 8, to agree movement of reserves. I haven't had a look at it, but you're more experienced than me. Councillor Moores.
So we have gone through this one, and as chairman of the committee that deals with it, I would like to propose that we accept the movement of reserves with the following amendment to help reduce the precept requests which will be forthcoming because of what we've just agreed on. So the proposal would be to accept the movement of reserves as presented with the following amendment from the to be allocated line, which is, if you can find it, it's just on that one. You can see.
Oh yeah.
To be allocated. So from that line, yeah.
312, down the bottom.
Yeah, it's underneath the black. Yeah. From that line, increase the contribution to the skate park project by 5,000, and with the remainder to be allocated to the general reserves budget line, as those who are observant will see that we're slightly below where we should be. So that will square the circle and help reduce demand on the preset for the forthcoming year. That is my proposal.
Yeah, I'm not gonna speak against this, and I've said what I said at the committee meeting. I'm happy, and I think that as a council we should allow this to happen this year, but it is a little bit of, how can I put it, slightly unusual accountancy practice, and we can't get in the habit of doing these things. So I think moving forward, we need to take a good look at our reserves. We need to take a good look at our budgeting and how reserves tie into our general operational budgets, and make sure that we are comfortable with how the reserves are managed, that we don't build up unnecessary pots of reserves, but equally that we do build up reserves moving forward, because many things like the vehicle reserve and certain reserves related to building maintenance, etc., have been run down to quite worrying levels. So if this is a one-off for this year to square our current budget, then I'm for it. But let's not get addicted to these sort of activities.
Yeah, I'll just come back to, I understand his concerns fully, but as I've pointed out, it's from unallocated reserves, not taking it from money that's been allocated for specific projects like a rolling programme for vehicle replacement. And I really hope this council does not go down the road that the last council went down and depleted the reserves to the point that, we're trying to get them back to where they should be.
Yeah, I'd just like to echo Councillor Cole's comments, but equally I support what we're doing here now because I think it's necessary. But I also, I'm hopeful that over the next year and for the remainder of this council, that carrying out the due diligence, I'm hoping that we will, on regular occasions as part of each committee, that we'll avoid this sort of situation occurring in the future because our financial planning will be much more stringent and we'll be much more aware as councillors, and each committee will be responsible for its own budget and the management of it. And so by carrying out greater scrutiny, I'm hoping that we'll be in a far better position by the time we get to this point next year.
Councillor Jones, do you want to say something?
Yeah, right at the top, 3 months gross outgoings have to be kept.
Yeah.
That's the minimum, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, but surely we should be at least a couple of more months than that, the minimum.
You might get there, you never know.
Well, yeah, but,
It used to be.
yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Yeah, we should be aiming.
I mean, it's three, if your minimum's a minimum, you want to be sort of halfway between the two, don't you? For common sense.
They're now saying 6 months.
You've got.
Yeah, that says larger councils.
Yeah, what is
Is that us?
What is large?
I'm putting it forward, I'm asking you.
Yeah, we should be the 6 months, but we're not.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
We can slowly increase a month at
How do you make it a larger council then?
Yeah,
For
Councillor.
people?
Thank you. I just wanted to say to Councillor Colwell through you, of course, that I wouldn't worry too much about the £10,000. It's the figure that Councillor Jennings just alluded to is the important one, the line number 3200, the general fund. I mean, at the moment, I know that we just said this, it's at 3 months. I think historically we have been up to nearly a year. And we've now gone down to that 3 months. We're at the bare minimum. And I think we certainly in future years need to be thinking about increasing where we are with that particular fund. And I do want to say, I haven't been to all the budget meetings, but the ones that I have been to is I've seen a far greater level of diligence shown to the budgeting process this year than at any point in the previous council. I'm very grateful that everyone involved themselves in it.
I've now seconded the proposal. I was going to second the proposal, but before that, I was going to say, why can't we increase it to 4 months? That's from now.
We haven't got the money to do it.
Money. Well, but that should be what we're trying to do.
We can't put a precept up by 15%.
We can put it in our aspirations.
Well, that's fine.
Because I personally would like to see far more than just 3 months operating reserves.
So right.
Yeah.
Anyway, I've seconded.
Have we got a proposal, sorry?
We've got.
Oh, we have.
Yeah.
And seconded.
Yeah.
Okay.
All those in favour? Okay.
There's something against?
Against? Abstain?
Was it
Lovely.
the last council then?
Right.
Reserves moved.
Out reserves.
To approve the budget of the council for 2026. So,
Yeah, well, it's still very bloody council. We're back on this now.
We finished that, have we?
Yeah.
The question is still asked.
Well,
Yes, I believe
we're going to see it.
Emma's about to tell us.
Boom.
Hopefully.
right.
Fire away.
No, I'm not going now.
So following those amendments, the precepts will be 1,480,743, which is an increase of 6.67%.
Well, we're doing the budget first, aren't we?
Yeah.
Yes, sorry, we've
To
leaved
approve the budget of the council.
Can I approve the budget first?
Yeah.
Total budget.
Hang on.
That's sheet number 1.
Can anybody tell me what page I'm supposed to be on?
Sheet number 1.
Ah, right.
The little one.
Total budget,
There we are.
2,019,604. Oh no, it's going to be less. Hang on.
Yeah, no, because it's changed now.
You've just slightly changed it, hang on.
Yeah.
Hang on.
Some very quick maths.
Very quick now.
More or less.
Yeah.
But we need to tell you. Goodbye, the book. Don't worry.
Oh, well it came. Okay,
£6.7.
so £2,010,295.
Well,
That's the budget, yeah.
That's the budget. And now we've got.
Propose that.
Thank you.
Seconded. All those in favour? Against?
No.
Abstain?
I can see what I say.
Yes, all, that's done. Thank you.
Right, so now we're on to
Precept.
Yes.
A little bit ahead of myself.
number 10.
So with that in mind, the precept will be 1,490,743, which is an increase of 6.67%, which is £20.87 per week or per year, or 40 pence a week.
for bounty.
Per bounty.
Sorry,
I'd
Kevin.
make a proposal that we approve the budget for the council for the forthcoming year.
Seconded, councillor Gibbs. All those in favour? Against? Abstain?
That's carried. Thank you very much.
Right.
Madam Chair, before we move on,
Sorry.
if I may, this is off piece, but I just want to remind the council, as I always wish to do so, that the precept in Bude payable by a Bandy council taxpayer, as we said, is going to be, whatever, it's going to be about 350 quid this year in total.
A week.
Yeah, well, so in total about 350 quid a week. If you live in Launcesvalles or Woodmouth Bay or Poundstock, you're paying about 50 quid a year. So there is a dramatic difference to the cost of people living within our boundaries, and any opportunity that I will ever get to share that cost with service users, people that use our services that we provide, I will do, and I hope the council will consider supporting me in that process.
Yeah. Sounds like a good idea.
Yeah. Again, views being hammered and nobody else is.
Well, we just did it.
Well, I did. I voted against it.
Right. So, number 11, to approve finance reports, schedule of payments made between 28th November and 11th December. You vote on that? Yeah. Councillor Gibbs?
Yeah.
Proposing, yeah. I'll second. All those in favour?
Does everyone know what they're voting for?
No, not yet.
Didn't think so.
Already made? Oh, that one.
This is the schedule of payments made between made between 28th of November and the 11th of December, which is attached. So you're voting on that.
Hang on. Voting on the trust that the councillors have done it correctly.
Okay.
Is this the one, I've got the right one here?
I believe you have, Councillor.
Yeah.
Why are we still paying, why are we paying for gas and that in Lord's Court?
That's what we do.
It might be what we do, but what?
Is it the standing charges?
A good part of that.
I would say that is probably standing charges,
So
doesn't it?
there, Lord's Court gas, January, November, 616 quid. Then you've got
Recalculation.
a credit note and credit note either side. Well, speak to me now, because I believe I'm trying to work it out myself.
Yes.
Right. I mean, it's like this other thing there, the other page there, it said Lord's Court, 28,000. I'm over here.
That's right.
Lord's Court, 28,000. For what?
Yeah, I second.
Council rate.
Support it.
Yeah, I realise we bloody, I realise that, Cocker.
Anyway, we've gone backwards now. Yeah.
Yeah, but I can't keep up, that's what I'm trying to say. I wanted to ask earlier on.
Okay, are we okay to vote on it now? We've proposed, seconded. All those in favour? Against? Abstain? Next is schedule of payments made on the 12th of December.
Could be late tomorrow.
After we move tomorrow.
Or not, if you don't agree.
Also approved, Chair.
Opposed?
Seconded.
Seconded. All those in favour? Okay.
Yeah, any again?
Against? One. Abstain?
That's carried. Thank you. £26.
To receive and note the conclusion of audit 25th, 26th. We'll vote on this one as well?
I believe we have to, statutorily. Do you want to explain briefly what that is, or if is it this one?
That one?
11C.
Is that the AGR one?
Yeah, do you want to explain how that's happened?
Well, it came up because our auditor said that we hadn't brought it to council. So this goes to the PDO, which is our end of year external auditor. This is just basically signing off last year's accounts and saying that everything's fine.
Housekeeping, effectively.
Housekeeping.
Would you like us to vote?
Yeah, please.
Right.
I propose we do.
Opposed? Seconded. All those in favour? Against? Abstain?
Yes, it's the AGOR, Councillor Ford, yeah.
It's already signed off.
Well, yeah, I'm slightly confused because I remember bringing it to council.
Yeah, no, I think
there was something we didn't do.
reminded me that we'd done it.
We just said that we'd done it. I think the auditor might have made an error, but I'm not going to go.
We signed it off before it went to the external auditor.
Oh, I see. So
And
we
this
were a
is
bit ahead
them
of
saying
ourselves.
they've seen it and approved it
Right, okay.
as well.
So just a step in.
Okay, we were
Yeah.
too
Rubber
hasty.
stamping.
Yeah, we're ahead of ourselves.
Yeah. Right. Item 12, to agree a response to the Cornwall Councillor consultation on new organisation to champion Cornwall's visitor economy. For those of you who don't know, the Visit Cornwall entity has folded. At the moment, Cornwall does not have an organisation advocating, come to Cornwall. Am I right, Councillor Broy?
You are right, but I sort of feel that if I'm going to engage in any of this conversation, I want to point out, just for clarity, that I am on the board, as I'm a non-executive director of Bude Area Tourist Board, which means I don't get paid for it in any way whatsoever, not even any expenses, but just for clarity's purposes.
Yeah.
You're exactly right. Visit Cornwall effectively failed, went into administration. The intellectual property that belongs, so all the photographs and the imagery and the Visit Cornwall and all that stuff that goes with it, is, we believe, falls back to Cornwall Council, and we hope that's going to be the case. And then, my opinion is there needs to be some sort of phoenix rising from those ashes to promote Cornwall.
I would say we do need a body to promote Cornwall. Scotland spends 3 million promoting Scotland, and their campaign is very, very good. And it would be very useful for Cornwall to be doing the same. Councillor Cornwall? There's a survey out online on it.
I'm all for an organisation that promotes Cornwall. I was just never convinced that Visit Cornwall really promoted our area particularly well.
Yeah.
And I also have always felt that there is a significant opportunity for some kind of cross-border North Coast entity to be promoting tourism right up and down from, the other side of Barnstable right down through to Tintagel, Boscastle. But that is a personal observation.
Sorry. Was Councillor Jennings first?
Oh, I don't know, sorry. I wasn't.
Did you want
Councillor
to
James, go.
Yeah, I was just going to say, they went into liquidation. Well, what the hell were they doing with the money then? I mean, surely they were just doing a job. They weren't supposed to be making money. They were just supposed to be publicising Cornwall.
I don't understand all the...
No, I don't. That's what I can't get my head around. Why did it go?
Perhaps Councillor Roy, advisor.
I can't give you a detailed answer, but I can give you a rough idea. Right, so the basic principle is that historically Visit Cornwall was financially supported by Cornwall Council. Cornwall Council withdrew that funding some years ago, I think sort of in excess of 10 years ago, and the organisation had to be self-funding. So when Councillor Cornwall says it did a rubbish job for Bude, well, it had to follow where its dollars were coming from, and there were the communities and businesses that bought into Visit Cornwall to give it the finance that it needed to operate was quite clearly where it was going to be promoting probably the most effectively. Now, the reality is we as a town council didn't give any money to Visit Cornwall, nor would I have suggested we should. But had we have done so, we might have a better quality complaint. But when you say, why did they go? Why did they go? Well, the simple fact of the matter is they weren't bringing in enough money to cover the cost of the activities they wished to engage in. And they pulled the plug before they actually went under. So they could see the writing on the wall. I do want to say, I mean, 2 years ago, I chaired at Cornwall Council a sustainable tourism inquiry. And one of the scary things that I thought was actually when you really start looking at tourism in Cornwall, we're actually quite precarious. There's lots of reasons for people to go somewhere else. And South Wales, especially at the moment, is a very well-regarded alternative to Cornwall. And they are very welcoming to visitors. And they do lay on lots of free and open public space and activities. For instance, South Wales is very well known for mountain bike trails, which are free at the point of access and loads of fun. I've been on them myself and it's absolutely amazing. And that pulls in huge amount of visitors to that area alone. And geographically, they're actually very similar to us. So if you go to South Wales, it doesn't feel very much different to Cornwall in places. So my opinion has always been is that we do need to be looking really carefully at tourism. We absolutely have to manage tourism because if we leave it to its own devices, you get these crazy examples of what's deemed over-tourism, where beaches just get so crammed you can't move and you get people parking their cars everywhere. So there doesn't need to be management involved, and it needs to be positive management. So I don't know what the survey says. To be honest, I haven't looked at it, but I would support in every possible way there being some sort of organisation that represents Cornwall, and I would urge us all. I'm not sure quite what you're looking for as chair as a response to this. We can't go through every single item, I would guess.
So this was, we have, as officers, met with Linda Winstanley, who obviously is manager, well, I say obviously, is manager of the Bude area tourist board across the road there. So this survey has now been put out by Cornwall Council about what people feel should be, as we've discussed, a new entity or a new direction in terms of promoting Cornwall. When I looked at it, I noted that there's a list of organisations that you can tick to say what you are, and one of the options was town and parish council. So they are obviously anticipating the town and parish councils will fill in the survey. Now, mindful of when we tried to go through and fill in the survey about the revisions to the code of conduct, trying to fill in a survey by committee is not a short process, and it's not always a very easy-going process. So, what I think, as long as the deadline for the survey hasn't been gone, what I suggest possibly the council could do at this stage is vote to delegate that to a committee. Whichever you feel is the best committee to fill that in, and that may lead to a fight amongst chairs, I don't know, but that might be easier than trying to have the 13, 14, 15 of us trying to fill in that survey now in the space of 3/4 of an hour, which is probably not going to be that easy. So that's why it's on the agenda. That doesn't make your life any easier, I appreciate, Madam Chair, but perhaps there's a proposal to that effect. It's not for me to make proposals.
Just a couple of points of response to that. So I've got the survey in front of me. It's available until the 11th of January. Right. Yeah. So we've got until that point to do it. I'd also like to echo a couple of points that Councillor Boy made. I think that we're always in this slightly difficult position here about whether we think tourism is a good thing or not. I think it just depends on which side of the fence you're sitting on. If you're involved in a business that relies on tourism, you're all for it. For those who don't seem to have an interest in it, think they'd rather not have it. And I think what we've got to be careful here is that what we don't do is miss an opportunity. What is evident from this, that you've got a lot of really big businesses in Cornwall are getting behind this now. So the managing director of St Austell Breweries, Effectively the guy that runs the Eden project. Rodders are absolutely behind this. Now they're driving this at the moment, and they're doing it because they understand the business need for it. And I think very much like you said before, what we've got to be careful of here is that we don't miss the boat. Right? That because we don't have any large-scale businesses here that are interested in tourism, that we don't get a say. Therefore, we don't get promoted in the way that other areas do, because that's what happens. The money, it follows the money. So I think we collectively as a council have to think about that in relation to the way that we want to promote or be involved in the promotion of tourism locally, because it makes a difference to our economy and it makes a difference to the way that we're going to be in the future. And I think we need to engage with that in whatever way we can in a positive manner.
Could I make a suggestion that as you found that link, you use your councillor group and you send it out to everybody?
I was going to say, through you, Madam Chair, I think the Assistant Clerk of Administration has pointed out that we don't really have a committee that we can take this to before the deadline. The next committee is CNH, and that will be spending the majority of its time looking at the audit from the Castle report. So my suggestion was going to be that perhaps councillors fill it in individually rather than as a corporate response.
Okay.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Do it as a town council type thing.
But yeah.
Did you want to?
I was only going to say something in making a response, but since we're doing it based on individuals, then that's fine. Yeah.
Thank you. Tony was slightly cynical about not wanting visitors. But
here.
Bude Tourist Board itself is not in a wildly strong financial position, so if we have to support something, it'll be the local one, just to bear that in mind.
I think I saw a payment in here.
Yes, there is, but the local one is important, more so than the big one.
Councillor LeBroy, and then can we...
I would quite like the authority to make a formal response as well as individual councillors. So I'm going to make a proposal that we delegate authority to the Deputy Town Clerk to complete the survey, along with any councillors that should be interested. And you can just set a date when you're going to do it and bring us the advice.
No, I'm only nervous about that because if no councillors do join me, I'm happy to make political decisions on your behalf, and that I cannot do that.
I'll join.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Give me a date, I'll be there.
Thank you. It can't be my opinion.
Oh, definitely.
That's very dangerous.
If we have the link,
Help you out with that.
if we have the link sent out to all councillors and the date when you are going to...
Yeah, that's fine.
You just fill her in.
Remind me the deadline, Tony?
11th of Jan.
Okay, I'm back on the 5th, so there's some time.
Yes.
I'll second that proposal, councillor.
All those in favour?
Thank you very much. Cheers.
Anybody against? Any abstain? Abstain. Right. That was item 13.
It was.
Item 14. To open and consider...
No, that's 12. We're sorry. I'm
Sorry.
13.
13. Appoint a councillor to the Future Coast Bude Critical Friends Forum.
Madam Chairman.
Yes.
Could I change it from a councillor to councillors?
Well, I was thinking that myself on the basis that with people's commitments, it might be better if there was more than one councillor, on the basis that we should always then have
someone that's there, because if someone's not available, then you have someone in the reserve to come in at least. If not, there's two people there, you get two voices who can report back.
I think, Madam Chair, through you, they've only asked for one representative, but I think it may be sensible to have a stand-in if that one representative isn't available, so one and another. Would that make sense, Councillor Silver?
It does, but
both couldn't attend at once.
They are proposing things. It's the they that concerns me. Not to worry.
Could I ask yourself, are you there to represent the Canal and Harbour Society? Are you one of the attendees or not?
I sit in a... I'm a trustee of Bude Canal and Harbour Society, and they've been asked to attend, and they have selected somebody at the moment.
That's what I shouldn't have asked.
No, that's fine.
There's another one of our councillors who's there anyway.
Yeah, so I feel it should be somebody different. Yeah, of course. Somebody who's already there. Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Just one.
Yeah. Are you proposing yourself?
No. I was going to propose Councillor Jennings because I think could have some interesting input.
He's happy to.
And I would say, this is multi-layered, right? There's a lot of different elements to this Future Coast View. This forum in particular has been set up to get people who are actively involved and engaged and interested in what this project is doing to provide that critical analysis. That's what it's for. Okay, so it's not about making decisions about what it's going to do, and it's not any of that. But what we did, we had a 3-hour meeting. The majority of it was talking about the science behind climate change, to be honest. That was a lot of it. Now, I don't know how useful that is to us as a council. What I would say, I don't know. What I'm trying to say is I don't know whether this is the right element for this council to be involved in relation to Future Coast View. What should happen is the town council needs a voice within the working element of Future Coast View, and the Critical Friends Group is not the working element. It's a talking discussion thing. There's no decisions being made in this. Okay, it may be worthwhile having another conversation with Future Coast View to say actually what you want is a representative of the town council on their working group or their decision-making body or whatever that might be, because I think that's more valid. Because what I don't want to do is have councillors wasting their time at long meetings talking about the whys and wherefores of climate change and providing critical analysis of some of the data that they're using. So I don't know how much value that is to us as a council. There might be people who are interested in it, but I don't know how much interest it is to us. Specifically, what we're more interested in is what the action they're going to take. You know, what are they going to do and how are they going to do it, and how does that involve the council and the community?
But is it not possible that they might then ask us to provide another representative to be on a working group?
I mean, they may. I suppose what I'm trying to say is that what I'm trying to say to councillors is just, you know, do you want to be involved in it? Is it a good use of a councillor's time to do it? Is what I'm asking. I mean, Peter might have you at this. I'm on the group as well, but I'm not representing the council. Peter's on the group, but you're representing Cornwall Council. So you've already got ears and eyes around the table, even though we're not specifically there from the council's perspective. So, and from my personal view of that one meeting, I'm not sure how much value there is specifically to councillors. I mean, maybe people see it differently, but I don't know.
Well, I've got a big interest in it because I've got a mooring in Norber.
Yeah.
So there you go.
Yeah, I don't anyway.
I sort of feel they've asked. I think it would be nice if we did suggest somebody.
Yeah, I'm going to problem with it. It's just as long as you know what you're doing.
Pete, Lance?
Pete, you can go first.
Yeah.
I'll allow it.
So there's a couple of points I just want to bring up. One of which is this is just one of many potential, I'm not sure if it's the right word, touch points that the council will have with Future Coast View. Don't forget that probably one of the biggest pieces of work is, and I've forgotten the name of it, but it's the piece of planning work that we're intending to do. It's there's probably a 3-letter acronym.
There is, yes. CCMP, Coastal Change Management.
So that probably would be more interesting for councillors to engage in. This particular group was put together in order to try to address the reasonable concerns that people locally were demonstrating about the direction of the project. And when they call it Critical Friends Group, I think the idea was to gather up everyone that perhaps was saying this is a rubbish project, or questioning the science, or whatever it might be, and to try to give them a sense of reassurance that the project was going in the right direction with the right projects. I mean, I'm still doubtful, if I'm quite honest. I wouldn't say it's a load of rubbish, but I would say a lot of the projects are not projects that I think will give us masses of protection going into the future. Right? But that's the nature of the funding. So what you're in a situation with is the funding that's been provided by the Environment Agency only allows them to operate within a very confined limit of operation. And that, in a way, is a bit ridiculous because I know that if you want to protect Bude, the first thing you do is look at the breakwater, right? But that's off the menu. Right, so there are conflicts already in there. I mean, my honest opinion would be that if Councillor Jennings really wants to come along, well, if he's prepared to give the time and come along to it, and providing you're not going to derail the meetings, you're going to listen and provide positive input in a reasonably measured way, which I know you're capable of, it would be welcomed. So I don't have any problem with anyone around the table coming onto that meeting.
Councillor Coleman?
No, it's Lance.
Oh, sorry.
Sorry. I just wanted to be minded that I do think actually appointing a councillor to it is important, and I did want to concur what you were saying on that. They've asked for someone to come in their sort of forum to have a connection to the town council. It's not necessarily about if everything that they're going to say is going to be relevant to things we do here and how we operate, but we do need to strengthen our relations with them at the end of the day, because I've heard in previous councils, I might be mixing things up, that certain relations that we've had with outsider bodies and councillors have not been up to par, and I feel like that needs to be resolved by having someone there who can do that. And I would also beg, based on what was said by a member of the public, that the person that we're putting forward here, whenever they have something to report back to town council, they report transparently and in a non-biased manner that will state everything that was mentioned, no matter what their personal opinions may have to play with it. That's all.
Councillor James, can you stand up to the mark?
Yeah, no trouble. I've got a big interest in it, really. I'm really more in there.
Councillor Caldwell, quick, because
My concern in all this is you have to accept some of the parameters around Future Coast Bude. It's no good going into every meeting saying we need a big breakwater. We may well need a big breakwater, but if Future Coast Bude can't deliver funding for hard infrastructure, then that gets parked, and we have to look at funding for other things, natural solutions. Some of the decisions, rightly or wrongly, have already been made at central government level, and Future Coast Bude is part of a massive nudge operation to get communities like us to focus on things which are coming down the pipeline, knowing that some of the agenda, like the massive hard protections, are not going to be part of this discussion. So we can bang our head on the table and turn our face against it and ultimately do this town out of a funding stream, or we can embrace it and work with what we've got. Now I would rather do the latter, and I would rather have representatives from this council on all the aspects of Future Coast Bude that kind of buy into that.
Mr. Barrett, did you want to?
Yes, thank you. The group that I attended is called the Critical Friends Group. Now, I regard that from two directions. If I think there's something that needs criticising on that group, you can be damn sure that my voice as a member of the public will be critical. But I also think they need critical, it is critical for them to have friends in view. Because if they suggest things as another body has suggested before, and the people of Bude don't think it's sensible, they're going to have a hell of a fight. Okay? We need to avoid the conflict. We need to be working together towards sensible solutions to genuine risks. That's my only interest. In that respect, they did say, and I was particularly interested in the new science that they're going to apply to this, and that's in the form of computer modelling. Now, I'm one of the people who have suggested that some of the things put forwards by a past group to protect you are nonsense. I've not seen the case proved that it isn't nonsense. I wish somebody would prove that what they propose for us is actually sensible and effective. That's what I'm looking for from this new science. As far as I'm concerned, whoever of you is on that committee or anything else to do with Future Coast Bude, you need to know what the science is and that it is sensible and sound. And you need to be telling your colleagues that it's sensible and sound. In my view, what we had before were representatives on a body that weren't reporting to you properly, and in my opinion, supported utter nonsense that would not protect this town in any way at all. And I'm still pretty mad about it, frankly. Funding stream, very important. I don't think that what we can do and can't do is quite as tied down as some would have us believe. Councillor LeBroy made some pretty good comments in respect of that meeting, and he also brought up something else that is very important and caused a little bit of a ruffling of feathers, and that was that we must have democratic representation of the people of Bude. Now, if they're not going to listen to the people of Bude, or if they think they're going to walk all over us, there will be a fuss. It may get us nowhere, but there will be a fuss. As whoever of you is going to be our representative, take as much on board as we can, learn as much as we can, present it to the public, and if it makes sense, the public will support it. But if you go on and you try to promote nonsense to us, as a member of the public, I won't support that. I hope to support future Coast Bude sensible solutions. That's it. Thanks.
Councillor Jones.
Got to remember, they got to be kept an eye on, because the Environment Agency spent the biggest waste of money ever in Cornwall, I should think, in Bude years ago. You know, these people just get carried away at times. You know, what they did down their entrance to somebody's car park was the biggest waste of money, I should think, ever.
Councillor Gibbs.
Can I ask that maybe when these minutes go out or at some point, there's a Let's Talk Cornwall page with a Future Coast Bude page on it. Now on that, it provides you all of the details that you need as to what the project is. It also has the Critical Friends group meeting from yesterday on that website. There's also a survey on it where community are being asked before the 8th of February to complete that survey that relates to this stuff as well. So if Tracy could put the link in, and then obviously you've got the opportunity to read all of the information that you need relating to it and what the idea behind this is, and actually get involved in the survey as well. So maybe answer some of the questions that are perhaps being asked around the table.
So just through you very quickly, was the recording of the meeting on that available through that?
I'm just looking now.
Did they video it?
Future sessions will be on different topics. Interested in being involved, please contact. I'll have to have a look. There was an email today, I think, from Helen talking about slides and stuff that were used. And it may have been recorded, I don't know, but we can find out.
Can I throw a spanner in the works and perhaps make things a bit interesting and say I'd also be interested in this? I've read quite a lot up, but I've read the stuff on the Future Coast Bude. I've read quite a lot about Bude. I think I am critical and transparent, and I would be a critical friend, not a critical enemy.
Well, we go to a vote. So, well, I think first of all, you need to agree that you want to.
We as a council want somebody on there.
So
I propose that
I second that.
Yeah, all those in favour?
Superb. Against. So I'm being a little bit.
No, that's fine.
Against.
Abstain?
Right, fine.
Right.
And now we need to vote on the two nominations that we've so far got.
Do we need pieces of paper?
Well, I thought Councillor Jennings said he did want to do it. Am I wrong?
I proposed Councillor Jennings.
Oh, you've proposed Councillor Jennings. Have you agreed that you want to do it? Yes.
Oh, yeah.
So we have two.
Yes.
Yeah, but there may be more. So.
Hands up, this sounds like a school teacher.
You carry on.
Hands up everybody who would like to represent the council on Future Coast Bude.
So that's two.
Technically I would, but I think I'll do it through another body.
Right.
So I think we take a vote on Councillor Jennings, and then we take a vote on those who would propose Councillor Richard.
Right. Can we vote?
Show of hands. Show of hands. No, please don't vote for both. That'll get very complicated.
Right. All those who would like to see Councillor Jennings as our representative.
Keep them up, please. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You can vote for yourself, but 6. That's 6. Thank you.
Yeah. Councillor Richards.
Oh, I thought we needed a second.
3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So councillor Richards.
You got a point, didn't you?
Well, I thought you were both going on.
No. Can you vote for one of us?
Well, you could, but it would make it complicated.
Hang on.
Yeah.
Hold on, I think there's been a cock-up.
Someone around here has voted for both.
Counted him twice.
Oh,
Possibly.
no, if you can't vote for two, for both.
I thought they're both going on.
They're not conflicting.
Well, I think the way we could potentially resolve this is if Councillor Richards is our main representative, because she clearly had a majority, despite Councillor Turner voting twice, then Councillor Jennings, if Councillor Richards can't attend, can be the deputy.
I shall be going to these meetings, whatever.
Okay.
I'm going to go as a member from the harbour, all right? I'm going as a boat fisherman.
You'll get an invitation, Councillor Jennings.
I don't need an invitation.
You might need to know when they are.
Could we move on, please? To open and consider tenders for the pitch and foot building. Yep. We have an envelope. We have an envelope.
So
to putt building.
We've received only one tender, I must say, for the kitchen part. And without revealing who that is, I can tell you what they intend to do with it and how much they intend to offer. So the rent section, as a charity, we're able to offer a rent of £200 per month or £2,400 annually. This enables us to keep the centre open, inclusive and community focused while delivering leisure, learning and environmental engagement for free for Bude all year round. Why the centre is needed, and I shall quickly read what those are: beach school sessions, school groups, after school clubs, information centre, talks, films and community events, CSR, corporate, not sure what that is, CSR and team days, team building, okay, and volunteer work experience and internships.
Corporate social responsibility.
Thank you, Councillor LeBroy. So that is your one tender that you have received. Yes. Oh, and I should make it clear that they do not wish to run the pitch and park. No.
It's £200 a month year round.
Well, that's what I was
A year. It's for a year with a review after a year.
That was my question.
No, Lance, you want to say something?
Thanks. Yeah, I just want to ask, in terms of what we previously had in place, has someone been currently occupying that and paying rent there? No. So this would be a new form of income.
Someone the pitch and putt last summer.
Yeah.
The figures I don't have to hand £1,000.
Okay. So this would be a new form of income for the town council in a way. Okay.
Do they totally appreciate the fact that the croquet club use the toilets?
They are aware of this.
And there would be no conflict like we had with the Pearl Exchange.
As I understand
over the
it,
toilets.
they're aware of the situation now.
Part of the tender.
Yeah, no, I just wanted to be clear on that point.
Yeah.
Councillor Tilsley.
Madam Chairman, there might be other parties in Bude who would like to go for that building if it's nothing to do with the pitch and putt. I mean, people have been put up.
That was on the tender.
It's those tendering to express whether they wish to run the pitch and putt or not.
No, well, I see.
They have the opportunity to tender and
So
say.
if you're advertising it for a pitch and putt building, people will think it's pitch and putt.
Well, they need to come in and read the tender, I would suggest.
You wouldn't bother looking.
I think that's just been put for simplicity's sake on the agenda as pitch and putt building, without adding on the end of it, without having to run the.
I was looking for a party place and
I see.
Oh, where's my invite? Lorraine.
Does this decision need to
Orange
be
tells
made
us the
tonight?
question.
Sorry?
Does the
It
decision?
does, yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, process.
Yeah. Councillor LeBroy.
I'm not sure whether I should say this or not. So I had a very, very super informal conversation with the chairman of the golf club and said, are you aware that there's a tender available on this? Would you be interested? If so, go down to the council offices and get it filled in. And he said, and they have previously expressed interest in doing quite a lot of nice adjustments to the pitch and putt and make it into a training ground for the junior section, which I thought would be a great idea. But I suspect he's probably timed out and hasn't had time to get in to do this. And I just wonder maybe if we ought to specifically invite them to make a proposal to us.
No, I don't think we can if we've got a formal tender process that we've advertised. I think we might be in trouble.
Okay, sorry, just to get over that, what we could potentially do is to vote to extend the period of the tender.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the process would be to vote to not.
Are you
accept-
listening? Could you listen?
So the process would be to vote to not accept this tender, and then you'd have to take a second vote to extend the tender process.
Councillor Gibbs.
I think we've got to be cautious here. At the end of the day, we've applied a tender process. We've made it absolutely clear and transparent about the use of the building. You've got one tender who's applied for it. It sounds to me like you might have people, there may be people in the room who don't necessarily agree with that tender and try and look for a different way to have somebody else in there. The reality is you've got one bid, whether you like it or not, and we've gone through the appropriate process and we're legally bound to either accept or not this particular bid. Now, if we choose not to accept it, and then of course you can open the tender again. But everybody in the town has had an equal opportunity to apply. There's been nothing held back from anybody, and you've got one tender, which sounds perfectly reasonable to me. You've got a 12-month tenant paying us a rent, and it's only 12 months. Now, in 12 months' time, if the golf club want to come forward, if they want to work up a bid over the next 12 months and come to us with a reasonable bid in 12 months' time, they've got the opportunity to do it. But I don't see now we're in a position really where we've got no income at all and nothing on the table at all, why we'd refuse this particular use. And it sounds like a really good use to me. I mean, it sounds like it's really community focused. It sounds exactly in line with our vision. I don't see any reason why we wouldn't do it.
Thank you. I want to propose that we accept the tender that's been given and approve it. I think that I don't think there's anything wrong with the things they're putting forward. Like you said, they're putting in rent and they're going to maintain the place for 12 months. But not just that, it's providing a community service and a form of education as well in terms of sort of environmental knowledge. And that only sounds like wins to me. And furthermore, though you've put forward the idea that the people who run the golf have had a consideration about making some improvements and such, they did not follow through on that. And I do not want us to put a Hail Mary to see if they genuinely meant it or if it was just like a thing they kind of thought about. So I want to approve it and I want to propose that.
Right, so we have a proposal at the moment.
I'm minded to second that proposal because of what I've just heard. It sounds as if the council could be in a win-win situation because the golf club probably wouldn't be interested in having the building. It's just a facility to use the course.
I agree.
And the current person who's tendered obviously doesn't want to have the pitch and putts. They've said so. So they're probably quite pleased to have the golf club looking after it and doing stuff with it.
Yeah.
So
I agree.
I don't think there'd be a problem with the person who's tendered agreeing not to have the pitch and putt as part of that tender. I'll follow the logic there.
I absolutely agree.
So I think it pays to just have a little think of how we got to this point. I was quite keen for us to explore avenues with community groups and non-profit making organisations. But it was suggested that we go down the tender route to try and offer to anybody and everybody for up to 3 years to see if there was any commercial interest. Now, it seems to have come back that there is no commercial interest, but there is a charity group that's willing to use that building and willing to pay us for its use. Now, we're getting a small little bit of income. Now, unless there is something about this group which smells a little bit bigger than a mouse, unless there's something that tells us this is a dodgy group that we shouldn't be dealing with, then to me it's an absolute no-brainer. We've had one tender, it's a small sum of money, but it's better than nothing, and I'm quite happy to move to a vote.
Right, Councillor Jennings.
Who's responsible for looking after the pitch and putt? If they only take on the building, are we still going to be having to cut all the grass and everything then?
We are anyway.
We would anyway.
Yeah, so that we whatever happens, we're still going to be looking after the place. If the golf club took it over, they'd be looking after it, wouldn't they? They'd have to because it'd be in their, they'd want it to be so they could use it.
But they haven't done that.
No, but if they could, if they wanted to.
If you actually let them have the building
you would have to put an amendment on that they have got no access to the pitch and putt if you're going to try and put the golf club. Otherwise, it would be.
I can't see anything in the tender where they state that they wish to run the pitch and putt.
No, but you need to amend it so that they've got no access to it, or no, they wouldn't be able to use the pitch and putt.
And two hands went up simultaneously.
Can I second? We have a proposal.
I think we've had a second already.
Yeah. Good. It's just for clarification, because I think it's a fair point. So at the moment, my understanding, I haven't seen the tender, but my understanding is that what we've done is tendered the building and the pitch and putt grass area, if you like, as a single entity.
With a choice to either run it or not.
Yeah, and what they've done is come back and said, right, we don't want to run the pitch and putt. We're happy to use the building, but we don't want to have to manage or run the land, if you like. So that automatically means that we're giving them access to the building to use it as they described. We maintain ownership management of that pitch and putt as we see fit. So therefore, if we want to have a conversation potentially with the golf club, a formal one, around what their potential use of that is, we have the option to do that. Is that right?
Yeah, I think provisionally I'd say yes.
Okay.
On the proviso that there isn't necessarily any use of the building.
Yeah, of course. It would be clear.
What's suggested here, there is after school clubs, there are other such things.
Yeah.
You've got the whole safeguarding issue, mixed use building. So I'd need to investigate. I don't want to give you a definitive answer.
Okay, so
there's a possibility.
Okay, so just for clarity then,
Yeah.
what we're doing is effectively dividing this up into two separate entities now, right? We're saying you're tendering now for the building alone, okay, and there is whatever the opportunity might be in the future or whatever it might be, but the land that encompasses the pitch and putt area is a separate entity now, right?
Yep.
Do they know that though?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, because that's what they've asked for, isn't it?
Yeah. Right.
And we're going to obviously.
Yeah, but that doesn't mean that they don't want.
Yeah, that's fine, yeah.
Okay, happy with that. Thank you.
Okay.
Well, yeah.
Right.
We've got a proposal.
Before we go to the vote, there is another element to.
Which I've just looked at and
they do want to put temporary lighting between the road and the door that faces the road, because whilst there is light on the road, it is very dark, and with children leaving later in the day, there is a potential problem there. So it's these sort of solar stakes you stick in the ground. So it's not a fixture by any means, but they are asking if they can do that. I just wanted to make sure you knew that before you went.
I'll take them in when they finish, because I won't last long.
I didn't want to say that.
No, I would like that if they do go ahead. If we do go ahead, they go ahead with that because of our dark skies policy. And Bude-Stratton Town Council do have a dark skies policy, that it would have to be provided at the end of the session, those are taken up.
We could put that to them, certainly, or switched off.
Some of them you can't switch off.
That's guys.
Well,
the ones you can.
Yeah.
If they do a mains connection, there would be a switch. If they're just
They're talking about
solar.
Let me read the paragraph for you. Outdoor lighting, essential safety requirement. At present, the lack of any outdoor lighting around the building means the area becomes completely dark after sunset. This is a significant concern for us, particularly as many of our sessions involve children and young people and often finish during the hours of darkness, especially in the winter months. From both a safety and safeguarding perspective, the current level of darkness leaves participants, staff and volunteers in a vulnerable position. For this reason, adequate external lighting is a non-negotiable requirement for us to operate safely. We propose installing low-level solar-powered pathway lighting to create a clearly illuminated safe route from the building to the main pavement where existing street lighting provides sufficient visibility. This approach is sustainable, unobtrusive and fully in keeping with the environmental values of the project. Images of the type of lighting proposed are included below. So it's those. Now, we could presumably, when we draw up the lease, whichever, I'm not sure, make a stipulation that they need to be brought in at the evening, I presume.
Sorry, Madam Chair. What I didn't...
Count of who was first. We started that,
I think it was Jeremy.
What I didn't hear there was who's paying for that.
I think the inference is that they are. They're not, it's non-negotiable.
Didn't hear it, non-negotiable.
They have it, but not that we provide it.
Right, so long as that's very clear.
Yep. Yep.
They're asking for permission, they're not asking for us to do it.
I didn't hear...
We need to appeal on that, I agree.
Yeah, Councillor Richards.
Can we just stipulate that they get the sort of solar lights that can be turned off.
Although, mind you, if they left them there overnight, they wouldn't have many left in the You know, let's be honest.
It does say we propose installing, so it doesn't say we insist you do necessarily.
Sorry, Lance, I'm working this way at the moment.
I beg your pardon, sorry.
Lance, did you want to say anything else?
No.
Okay.
I wouldn't bother wasting time, telling them they have to bring them in. They're such low level. I mean, I've got them. They are.
It's a plastic intrusion on the downs.
But I mean, they're so small, and the lighting is very minimal. It's not going to cause this massive lighting. I mean, they probably will get stolen, and I imagine, and then they'll probably choose to bring these out. However, I don't think I'd want to be they need to bring solar lighting in at the end of every session.
Well, just on that,
I'd just like to point out that the planning committee have just won with a dark skies policy that the banking hub in Bude, their sign will only be allowed to be illuminated during working hours, the office hours.
what I would say, just to add to that, one more thing before you go to the vote, they are asking if they can put up a feather banner whilst they're in operation. That also will be brought in. It's not going to stay overnight, for other reasons probably. They have asked for that. Now, we'll have to think carefully about that because the covenant for the Downs says there's no advertising. Now, permanent advertising or temporary advertising, don't know.
Did the Pearl Exchange?
It's not for me to comment on the Pearl Exchange, Councillor Gibbs, I've got it. So what I'm saying is that there will, if you agree and you agree to the feather banner, there will be an aspect of taking things in anyway, is what I'm driving at.
And not littering the outside area with bits and pieces.
Well, fine. I think Mr. Barrett has a...
Mr. Barrett, then we go to a vote.
In my position as an electrical engineer, if they take those lights in, they are not going to recharge by solar.
Oh, that's a good point.
So you may well be advised to have a conversation with them about getting lights that they can recharge from the mains electricity in the building.
Right.
And they will last for quite a long time at night.
That's a good point. Thank you very much. Before you go to the vote, no, have the vote. No,
hang on. Very quick,
Can't they just walk them out with torches?
Well, most people
easier, wouldn't it?
Torches nowadays, and you can buy those hats with torches.
Whatever.
Yeah, but anyway, right, can we go to a vote on this?
Yes, 7 minutes. Yeah.
Well, we've got 7 minutes left.
Before you have to extend.
Right, cracking on then.
Have we got a proposal?
Yeah, seconded. All those in favour?
I think that's
accurate.
Yeah. Against?
Against? No abstainers? No?
I'm pleased to tell you it's the 2-minute foundation. Thank you very much.
Right,
so you couldn't work that out for
yourself. To consider, can we move on?
Yes.
To consider councillor-led meet the councillor sessions. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I'm quite passionate that these continue. I've been a little disappointed that they have continued without the council agreeing them to continue in Stratton this whole time. However, we are here now, and I do think that it's really important that we continue these. I think, to moving forward, having them in Bude, I think we could perhaps look at being somewhere different for them. Either somewhere like Berry's Community Cafe that is used by every single demographic of people within Bude and Stratton, both towns use that facility, or even the library, two places that are always very busy with local people. Just my thoughts and my suggestions.
That's good.
I like the idea of these, I always have done. Not the previous council, but the one before, we debated this fairly often and we didn't do it in the end because it just wasn't felt to be worthwhile. I think these things are worthwhile. However, I think that what we've got to do is define what the purpose of it is. It's fine to go and have a chat with people about this, that and the other, but actually if it's not coming back to the council to do anything with, then it's a fairly pointless conversation. So whoever it is that's going to do it, we need to empower them to go with the ability to talk about the stuff over which the council has got some sort of authority and then have the responsibility to bring that back to the council for the council to do something about it. Because otherwise, there's a risk that you've got members of the public coming to us with legitimate issues, the one they think that we're responsible for, that we're not, or they do come to us with stuff that we are responsible to, and it never actually gets back to the council in order for us to do anything about it, which I fear has been the sort of issue, really, where you're having well-meaning and well-intentioned conversations with people in various areas, but the councillors are doing it, are not then empowered to do anything about it. So if we're going to do it, we need to structure this properly, and we need to communicate that to the community that is what we're doing and what it is that, and why we're doing it, regardless of where that is. So there's something that comes from it, because it just feels like otherwise it's just a chat on a Saturday morning for no other reason apart from the fact that's what we want to do.
Lance, then Kevin.
I would want to give Councillor Gibbs some delightful news. The last Stratton Meet the Councillors session we had, I actually showed up to at the Tree Inn, and I actually did bring something out of it. I asked for an amendment to the minutes on the basis that the working group for Lord's Court was to be available to members of the public who wish to maybe volunteer anything that they have in terms of skills or expertise. I asked for an amendment to make sure that that was placed in the minutes, because it was said, because in the previous minutes it wasn't stated. So I just wanted to say I brought something forward. I can't necessarily say about others, but hopefully we keep that pattern.
Do you want to go to the extension?
Oh, right, yeah.
I do not want to infer that Councillor Cole is going to talk for more than 4 minutes, but just
He does. No, he's not. As I have.
Did we go to an extension? Did you say 2 hours?
No, I did not.
10 hours.
15 minutes extension. All those in favour? I propose seconded.
Someone seconded.
Yeah. All those in favour? Right.
Thank you. Right.
Right. 2 minutes.
I've been to a few of these, and the best ones I've been to have been associated with wider community events. Things like the Heritage Day. There was a day which was raising awareness about the change of the bins that took place down at Berry's. And we had our little gazebo and a little washing line of wishes and all kinds of things like that. And they were always well attended, and they worked well. The individual Meet the Councillor sessions that we had at the Castle Tea Rooms, and in my experience also in Stratton at the King's, you were lucky if you got a couple of people. And there were plenty of occasions where we got absolutely nobody. So I think it's a good thing, but I think we can over-egg it if we do it every month. I would suggest quarterly. I would suggest tying it in with the larger events that happen in the town. And I would suggest never doing it in the same place on consecutive months.
We'll work this way round if that's okay. Right.
Just going to suggest that I think whoever does do it should be reporting back to the council, and surely that can be brought in to the committee chairs and representatives as a request.
No, very valid point, yeah.
We have a meeting every month. The public can come and say anything they like. Nobody bothers. Tape's the only one that's turned up tonight. Well, you know.
I've got to try.
They've got plenty of time to come and see their councillors and speak to them.
Councillor Broy?
Without wanting to disagree with Councillor Gibbs, so I normally agree on almost everything, I quite like the informality of the King's Arms sessions. Just come and have a moan at us, and something may come of it, something may not. You know, it's if somebody wants to really formalise something, as councillors, we're big enough to escalate it appropriately if necessary. And I think maybe a combination of what Councillor Colwell is suggesting, along with some informal sessions. Yeah, let's do a monthly informal. Yeah, we'll be at the library every first Saturday of the month as councillors, and whoever of us wants to turn up can. But apart from that, you know, when we do have events, we actually do turn up with a bit more thought and clarity and do the wishing line exercise or whatever it might be. You know, so I think a monthly regular day is worthwhile, and I quite like the informality.
Okay.
Yeah, I was actually going to say the same. I think that, you know, we kind of, when I first, you know, came on the council 3 years ago, we were sort of at more events, and then that kind of just sort of came to a stop. I think it's really important that we are visible at bigger events like the Heritage Festival and stuff like that, and actually are there with a stall, with a table, with, you know, so people know that we're there and they can come and speak to us and we're engaging more. And I like having, you know, I think being somewhere different each month, maybe having themes so people can come and speak to us about whatever they want to. However, you know, we could sort of advertise it as this month we're here to talk about, and it could be something specific that we are doing at that time, you know, it's a specific topic that is quite important or is quite big on social media at that time. And give people a reason, I think, and also being somewhere that is always busy with local people like Berry's Cafe or the library, you know that the majority of the people in there are locals, and we're sort of there in amongst that busyness rather than, you know, I mean, I did it, I think 4 or 5 times at the castle, and one of those times I had one person come, and that was it. And I think it's because it was just perhaps not quite the right place for that. If you are somewhere where that traffic is there of locals, they're more likely to engage with you. Whereas a lot, you know, we know that the majority of the people in the castle are visitors and tourists. And just sort of saying, like, we're here, you can come and talk to us about anything, but this month the topic is this or that or whatever. Plus, we're going to be really visible at these big events, much more than we have been in the last few years. I think the two things to go really well together.
Thank you. The reason I'm sitting here tonight is because I went to a Meet the Councillor meeting. And that I'm sitting here, you may view as good or not good. The important thing from a member of the public's view is that was a very nice meeting to attend. Informal. Many members of the public aren't going to want to come here, sit in one of these chairs and address you as a whole. I went to a meeting where Councillor Cole and yourself were present. I was the only person there. I regard that as essential. And because I was there, I was able to find out something astonishing, that shaped my view of this council and how I've responded to many things since. Let the public come to meet you. Let them bring their agenda. If it's something you can't talk about, you can say that, but let them meet you. You're public representatives. And thanks, incidentally, to all the councillors that have taken the time to do that.
Okay. Right, can we vote on the principle of it and fill in the finer detail? I've been around the room, finally.
Oh, sorry, but I just want to emphasise that. I don't know if I was misunderstood, but I'm definitely not against the idea of it. What I definitely would like, though, is some element of where we can agree in principle that it's a good idea, but we definitely need to agree what the responsibilities of the councillors doing it are. Because that's the bit for me that's missing. That's the bit of the jigsaw that is missing. Because I think it's absolutely essential, as you said. We need an informal situation where you can have people come and talk to us, but those councillors going to that then have a responsibility to do something with the information that they've been given, and it comes back to the council. And that for me is the missing bit of the jigsaw. So we need to establish some sort of, you know, system, if you like. I mean, it's the same as any MP doing a surgery. It's the same thing.
It's only the clerk could draw up the basic rules.
Well, it's for us to decide, I would suggest. I would argue it's our decision. I mean, we're doing it, it's our decision. We can't, I mean, it's not for the town clerk to decide how we do it.
But we're representing the...
Right, can we vote on the principle of whether we want to consider keeping the council-led?
Did you just propose that?
I haven't proposed it yet.
Sorry.
Actually keeping the sessions, and we could sort out the nitty-gritty later.
Okay.
Are we happy with that?
That's the second.
Yeah, pro second.
Right.
Yeah.
All right.
Sorry, I'm having trouble with me.
Oh, right, no. It's not the nature of the debate.
Did you not say? Right, all those in favour of keeping the Meet the Councillor sessions?
I think that's unanimous. I think that's the first time tonight. It's unanimous.
Anybody against? Anybody abstain? Right.
Well, the tender was unanimous.
Can I just ask that we do make sure that we bring this back for proper conversation as soon as possible? within
But if under matters arising from the
Um,
previous meeting.
What I would say through you, Madam Chair, advising you as member of staff, it's ultimately for you to decide. So this isn't a service that you have to deliver. And I'm not saying there isn't some democratic benefit with Mr Barrett here of having you have the discussion about what the form of that should take at a council meeting. But again, if you decide that outside of the council meeting, it's not a problem. It doesn't need the say-so of officers to say you're doing it right. Well, unless you go and do it in Bridgewater, and in which case we may then say probably should be doing that. So we could bring it back if you so wish, but it's really more of a discussion for yourselves. It's your thing rather than.
And it makes it easier because everyone is then here.
Oh yeah, that's right. There is that point.
That's the only reason why I suggested it
That
that
is
way.
true.
Can we do it on a night then when there's not quite such a full agenda? Councillor Gibbs and
Can we? I wanted to sort of try and do an amendment. I'm never keen on saying we're going to do something later because that means we're just never going to do it. We need to have a date. We need to, because are we now saying, have we just said that we're going to run these sessions, but we haven't agreed on how we're going to run them? Right, so effectively now what we've said to people is we're going to do what we did previously. Having just sort of debated the fact that it probably wasn't a good idea to do that, we've now agreed to do it. So now what we've said is, right, any councillor can go to a meet the public session, but not have to report back to the council because we haven't got any method to do it. So can we?
Method.
Well,
if we put it in under reports from committee chairs and representatives on outside bodies, because you could claim that they were an outside body.
Well, yeah, but we haven't just resolved to do that. What we've done is resolved to re-establish or continue to do it the way we're doing it. So, and you said that we'll deal with the detail later. My question is when is that?
I suggested bringing it.
Councillor Broy.
To satisfy, I mean, I'd quite happily just turn up and have a chat with people who've done it. Right, but Councillor Gibbs wants it to be a bit more formalised, and I accept that. So what I was going to suggest was that we ask the Deputy Town Clerk to create a.
I think you said to come along. Yay.
Terms of reference for the group. Yeah. More or less in line with what's suggested.
And I can do.
And it would be half a side of A4 that's just going to say we're going to meet once a month somewhere, and that anybody who, something along the lines, anybody who wishes to have their name taken and their point made to the full council, we've got a form to fill in and then we can just send it back to all members. Right, but my proposal is I'm going to make it that we delegate authority to the Deputy Town Clerk to create terms of reference for this group.
All those in favour?
I'll second that, yeah.
And there is
Susie got to it first.
There is a serious point to this.
Yeah.
And I don't mean to scare anybody, but some people get very angry about their elected representatives, and there are issues of safeguarding when you attend these things. And so there is an element for me to look at there. So fair enough.
Yeah, because ideally you want 2 councillors there.
Indeed.
Yeah, quite right.
Councillor Jones, okay.
Could we do it like on a Saturday morning, some in Bude, some in Stratton, somewhere else? So you got people covering the full area in one go?
Not enough people to do it.
Hey?
Not enough people put themselves forward for it.
Well, you only got to have 2. You've only got three places. You only need.
Oh, so you rotate?
No, sort of. Right, it's the first Saturday, so you 3 do Stratton, you 3 are in Bude, you 3 are, say, Crooklets, because they used to meet down Crooklets Cafe, didn't they?
One time, yeah.
Yeah, well, there. And that covers the whole area of the town, really. And you've still got 9 councillors to do the next month.
As I write the terms of reference, I'll seek a councillor's view.
Okay.
No, I was just going to say that, yeah, we do need to make sure that obviously there is at least 2 councillors going to each one, and also making sure that all councillors know about it, have
I'll do it then.
and know who is where and when everyone is.
Okay, if we could move on to item 16, please. To receive items of correspondence from the clerk.
Right, this may take no one.
I've got suitcase.
I've got no correspondence.
To note, date of the next meeting, 15th of January 2026.
Yeah, not the first Thursday of the month.
Noted.
Yes.
Well done, Peter.
Right. At 8 minutes past 8, meeting closed.
Thank you very much.